Imagine the fire alarm going off in your home. How terrifying that must be. You have to run, gather your family, see if it's a false alarm, a real alarm, run outside, wait for the fire trucks, determine the damage. How terrifying it must be to have a fire alarm go off in your home. Now imagine that fire alarm going off every 3 hours for 3 years. That's about how many rockets have fallen in southern Israel, and how many times the alarm Tseva Adom, code red, has rung out. Every 3 hours for 3 years, over 6,000 rockets have hit. Because of this terror, Israel has now finally chosen to respond, to stop the attacks, or at least minimize them as best they can. And the world is watching and wondering what possibly could be going through the minds of Israel and Jews all over the world. Well, I would like to tell you what's going through my mind. First of all, Israel has shown tremendous restraint. Israel did not want to get into an offensive war, and it has done everything that it can to not do that. In 2008 alone, this year that we're concluding on this Thursday, in this past year alone, 3,000 rockets have fallen on southern Israel. That's incredible. It's incredible that Israel has not acted sooner. Second of all, I'm thinking that Israel has a right to defend its citizens. Israelis have the right to know that they can live peacefully without rockets raining down, without that alarm going off every so often. Children should be unafraid to go to kindergarten. Elderly people should not be afraid to walk to the store. And Israel has a right and a responsibility to keep its people safe from attacks. I also know that Israel is doing everything that it can to avoid civilian casualties. Israel sent messages ahead into Gaza, telling civilians to move away from military institutions, military outposts, telling them that we were going to attack. We don't want to hurt you. Prime Minister Ehud Olmert himself said, "This is not a war against the people of Gaza. You are not our enemies. This is a war against Hamas and terrorism." We are trying our best to minimize casualties amongst civilians in Gaza, while Hamas and Jihad are doing everything in their power to increase casualties of civilians in Israel. You know, for us Jews, we have a saying, Kol Yisrael Arevim Zeh Lazeh, that every Jew is responsible for another Jew. And so, I know that there are many Jews around the world that are aching today for all of the suffering that has been going on in southern Israel. I'm also aching for the suffering that's going on in Gaza. I also see them as my brothers and my sisters, and I am in pain for them. My one wish is that just as Jews say of one another, Kol Yisrael Arevim Zeh Lazeh, you are my responsibility, I care about you, I want to take care of you, I wish that the Arab world would say the same. I wish that Egypt and other neighboring countries would embrace the idea of a Palestinian people instead of rejecting it, kicking them out, making it so difficult for them to live. I wish that the leadership of Hamas and Islamic Jihad and up north Hezbollah would recognize the inherent divine value of their own people and not use them as human shields. I wish that there would be a sense amongst the Arab world that every Arab person and every person is my responsibility. And I'm going to do everything I can to take care of my own and God's own, the entire world. So while people will surely speculate and perhaps even spout falsehoods about what's going on in the mind of Israel and the mind of Jews around the world, I want to share with you what's going through my mind. I want Israel to continue to show restraint when it can, to only use violence as a very last resort. I want Israel to protect its citizens. I want Israel to do everything it can to avoid civilian casualties. And I want the Arab world to take care of its own, to take responsibility for its own, to care for its people, to allow us together to find a true peace, a lasting peace. Until next time, Lehi Tro.